Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts are meant to give everyone a voice, a chance to speak with others who are passionate advocates for expanding the blockchain's use cases out into the world and beyond. Do you have a crypto community you would like to represent and hold open hangouts for? If so, you might find yourself on the path to owning a stake in Beyond Bitcoin. We are looking for people who care about people who want to bring others together, because crypto communities are people. Beyond Bitcoin is a movement of thinkers and doers in the crypto space. And if you feel you are one of them, reach out to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com for more information on how to debut your community's efforts to reach to the stars and beyond.
Welcome everyone to another Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. Today is Friday, April 21st, 2017, and this is episode 204. We're in a little humble meetup that joins on the internet in a little mumble server that is kind of hidden away as far as possible into the Netherlands. And what we do is we join every week to talk about blockchain technology, to talk about how the specific blockchain technologies that we are working with are going to change the world. We like to be the people who support a project called Beyond Bitcoin that has been here to enable other people to have a voice in a sector that largely you have to pay to play. You kind of have to give some tokens to a media representative to get coverage. And a lot of the time we feel like that's maybe not necessary. So what we've done is we've utilized tools in the blockchain space thus far as the Beyond Bitcoin community, all of you who are here today, those of you who are listening, we are utilizing these tools to enable a new kind of content creation and rewarding. And the community is paid out. The individuals who are joining up as guest speakers every week are paid part of what is earned from this hangout. So with that said, every week we have an RSVP thread, and the people who are running projects in the space are urged to reach out to their own communities, to ask them to join steemit.com or the Steem blockchain or busy.org, any of these ways that they want to join up. We ask them to join up and to have their community upvote them and give them a show of presence, a show of force, so to speak, that all these people trust me and my project. And what we do is we go from the first to the second most upvoted down, and we utilize the blockchain for all of this to allow the community to decide who goes first, second, third, and so on. And with that said, we have a specific order today. It was going to be starting out with Viva, William Banks, but he is asked to be at the end. So the order is going to be today, Jonathan Bahai of PeerPlays, providing some updates on the PeerPlays blockchain, the third graphene blockchain that has really share dropped in the recent times. Steamrolling, which is BitCash, which is a project that is in the BitShares ecosystem, and maybe some other things going on. I don't know. I'll let him, as the expert, provide these updates. And then we're going to have virtual growth from Virgrow, and that is an asset that is traded on the BitShares exchange as well. But he is very big into all of the various UIAs and cryptocurrencies that are on the BitShares dex. So he touches a lot of stuff, and he has a lot of different projects that he works with that actually have their own tokens. So I'm looking forward to hearing from him. And then William Banks from Viva is going to join us to talk about his project. And with that said, thank you everybody for being here. I just want to say that in this world, there's a lot of chaos right now. Many in power would love to see a revolution that is violent and destructive, and all of you help enable a revolution of the mind based on innovation and building. And I think that is the power of humanity, and I want to appreciate openly all of you for taking part in this. So let's get to making history and archiving it, everyone. Today, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask, is Data, are you there? Data Security Node?
Hello?
We hear you perfectly.
Fantastic.
Well, I'll go ahead and, since you are not actually stuck under a generator in your bunker, which was my fear, I was about to call up to Nova Scotia's version of 911. But all joking aside, it's good to see that you're safe in the bunker and you're able to talk. I'll go ahead and I'll step back. I'll let you do what you do every week and provide this transparency and accountability to the people who are investing in your project. Thank you very much, and I'll step back.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Fuzzy. Hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Bahai. I am the president of the PeerPlays Blockchain Standards Association. It is the nonprofit association which is supporting the PeerPlays blockchain project. And we have been busy, of course, working on the changes to our website as we updated last week. We were hoping to be able to launch it this week. Unfortunately, though, we had some last-minute iterations in some design changes, which have delayed it slightly. So hopefully, we're looking at possibly the end of today, if not, we're possibly looking at Wednesday next week due to holidays that are taking place with the coder team. So that's unfortunate, but that's where things are at. This last week, though, we've been very busy with our marketing campaigns in regards to the crowdfund, and it has been picking up. We had an article come out on Bitcoin Magazine talking about PeerPlays, and that was fantastic. It was a really great write-up that tells the story of how PeerPlays started, where we're going, and what we look to accomplish. We'll share that link after I'm done the update here. And with the new website, we're going to be introducing a brand new way for people to be able to contribute to the crowdfund, as I talked about last week, where it doesn't matter where your funds are coming from, if they're from Coinbase, if they're coming from Poloniex exchange, you'll be able to just send your BTC directly to us to be able to contribute to the PeerPlays crowdfund, which will be a big improvement over the current format, which had required people to understand private keys and to manage them and so forth. So that was a barrier to entry, which we realize now that we had to eliminate. We've got 3 weeks left in the crowdfund. It does end on May 14th. The plan, and so following that, we are launching the PeerPlays blockchain on May 31st. So that would be the time that you would be able to redeem your tokens on the PeerPlays blockchain, the PPY tokens, and yeah, that's pretty much the update for this week. Unfortunately, it was a as I said last week, I was hoping we'd be able to talk about the new website. Some of the things we're going to be showing in it includes a graphical roadmap. With the crowdfund page, we actually are going to have the capability of not just accepting Bitcoin, but also accepting other tokens like Ethereum. So that is also going to help us. We lined up many interviews over the course of the next few weeks. So you can anticipate, if you follow us on social media, in our news channels, you can expect us to be publishing about all the different interviews that are taking place, so that you'll be able to hear more about what PeerPlays is all about. Some people that do support the PeerPlays project, they all have different ideas of what's great about it. I just like to kind of give my input on that. I feel that when it comes to the value for people to understand why to be involved with PeerPlays, it really comes down to is the profit sharing. We are the first blockchain to offer a profit sharing token. We created the code last year. It is available in public, and so people can see how it works. This code allows for all the transactions and all the activities that are taking place within the network to be capable of being shared with all PPY token holders, which is a massive value proposition which no other projects are offering. I think somebody in Reddit just last week, this was brought up in our Telegram group, somebody posted in Reddit what offerings are out there that offer quote unquote dividends, but nobody was able to come up with any projects. And somebody I think replied saying, yeah, the PeerPlays project actually offers profit sharing. So it's built right into the blockchain. It's not some centralized, maybe we'll give you something kind of a thing. It's built into the blockchain. So that means that it's guaranteed. And what's amazing about it is that the PeerPlays network is designed to actually support other digital currencies. So people who wager with Ethereum or Dash or PIVX or SBD or even BitUSD are, as they do this, they are actually going to be able to have a distribution of the profits that come from that sent out to every single user of the PeerPlays network. So it becomes a massive distribution channel for distribution of tokens, which no other blockchain has ever done. This is a project where we've actually encompassed other chains and incorporated it as part of our design to enable other chains to get more distribution and be able to fill the ecosystem with more users. So it's a great prospect for liquidity. It offers a very strong value proposition for other blockchains which can't necessarily support the wagering and gaming aspects that the PeerPlays blockchain can, but by being able to have their token used within our network, they gain all the benefits that come with that in terms of liquidity and whatnot. And as many people know, when it comes to gambling and wagering, basically the majority of the transaction volume which carries Bitcoin to this day is in wagering and whatnot. So by being able to offer this to other quote-unquote altcoins, as well as being able to expand it for Bitcoin itself, the PeerPlays blockchain represents a great opportunity for all of the blockchain space to be able to enhance liquidity, increase distribution, and best of all, have everybody profit along the way, rather than having some central service somewhere that is actually trying to run everything. We are creating new standard in terms of blockchain gaming and provably fair gaming, and we will continue to pioneer those standards and bring that forward so that as the rest of the world takes notice, we become the template for all gaming around the world. And it becomes a standard by which everybody who creates applications in gaming will follow the provably fair standards which the PeerPlays Blockchain Standards Association has set out and which are demonstrated live in a real production environment in the PeerPlays blockchain. So that's all I have to say today in regards to that thought. I feel like that is something that people who are followers of the project, we have discussions, by the way, in Telegram. We have a Telegram group at PeerPlays. I highly recommend you join it. It's becoming more and more active. We're getting more users every single day. And there's lots of discussion, not just about PeerPlays. They like to talk about a lot of other things, usually related to BitShares, because a lot of the BitShares community is in there. But there's also Gridcoin, some of the Gridcoin communities in there, and of course some of the Steam community also. But I highly recommend you join the Telegram group, which is at PeerPlays, if you haven't already. It's a great place to not only learn about PeerPlays, but to meet a great community which is supporting this project. So with that, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to do my best to answer them.
So obviously betting in BitShares is going to be possible, right? That's going to be one of the tokens.
So that's an interesting question, actually, Fuzzy, because some people have asked exactly how our token's going to be introduced into the network. In the end, it's going to be up to the PPY holders. As those who are familiar with the project know, PPY has voting capabilities very much like BitShares, where people are going to be able to vote on proposals and come to a consensus on what elements are going to be introduced into the blockchain. Now, we don't want PeerPlays to become just this valley of weeds that has a ton of quote-unquote shit coins that would be just kind of laying around, taking up space, getting dumped in people's wallets that really have no intrinsic value. This is definitely not going to be very exciting, right? Nobody likes to win a bunch of junk. Everybody wants the real deal. So
token spam.
Yeah. So it's really what we've been doing is we have been talking with various communities in regards to this possibility that their token could be used within the PeerPlays platform. In the end, it's going to be up to the voters who decide this, and if the voters are people who have a vested interest in seeing a particular token being presented within PeerPlays, then there's a more likely chance that it's going to be supported versus not supported. Now, with that said, of course, we do want to have certain standards in regards to things like volume, certain liquidity, and things like this, to ensure that when the token is being used, that it is a token which is liquid and that the value will not suddenly disappear. Like it's clearly has strength and has support. And of course, BTS, as many know, has been around for quite some time. This is one of the more aged blockchain projects, although it's most advanced. It's very likely that BTS will see support and be seen within the PeerPlays blockchain as a token. If not BTS, I can imagine the BitShares community being interested in supporting BitUSD as a standard if liquidity and things like this, which of course everyone knows is an ongoing topic, can be addressed in order to handle the literally millions of dollars of volume every hour, which is very likely to be running through the PeerPlays blockchain, in which we have designed it with that purpose. So I hope that answers your question, Fuzzy. It's basically up to the voting shareholders. So the more shares you got, the more likely that you're going to see whatever token that you want to see supported being presented within PeerPlays, and thus increasing the volume, gaining distribution for your own project. So if PIVX, for example, if a lot of people who support that end up getting into our current crowd sale and becoming a major part of the community, then they can gain all the benefits that PeerPlays has to offer in regards to having the gaming and wagering in their token without it having to go onto their own blockchain. So this is a major value proposition for all the current tokens that are out there and all the current blockchains. And I hope that people in our community can convey that to other communities effectively, so they understand what it is that PeerPlays has to offer. It's really, sometimes people get caught up in one thing or another in regards to seeing the project, because there's so much to it. But this is something I feel that is just makes it simple. It's something everyone can understand, and of course that's the what's in it for me proposition, right? And that's something that everybody can understand if the token that they support is a token that's going to be what would gain in that type of relationship. So hope that helps.
Last week I was very glad to hear that you guys are taking hardware wallets seriously, and you mentioned the Ledger, which I see is cheaper than the Trezor, so I like that. But I also, in checking out their site, found the Ledger Blue, which is probably the highest end open source personal security device with a near smartphone size screen on it. And I was looking at that device and thinking, you could put games right on that and have one device that is both a place to feel comfortable about holding your crypto and play some PeerPlays games as well. So I thought I would just pass that idea along to you if you hadn't thought about that already, the Ledger Blue, and I'll put a link to it in the chat.
Yeah. So yeah, the Ledger Blue is a little bit more advanced and gives you a little bit more space to work with in managing your crypto funds. I don't know if it would be ideal for games. Looking at the specs, it looks like it's very limited. It's more likely that in regards to gaming and crypto, it would make more sense to have some type of mobile technology manage that process. You could have basically, if you wanted to have a card like that, there is smart chip technology capable in now to hold the type of cryptography and the type of cryptographic keys which are common within blockchains today, which I think some projects have started to toot about them offering as well. This has all been thanks to the innovations of the credit card companies, actually. So it would be ironic if that technology gets usurped for the purposes of running blockchains for their own. But yeah, it would in regards to having it all in one. I definitely think that we would want to have the mobile technology in place so that you can play your games, because we are building one of the handful of applications which we are building is an API stack which works with Unity 3D, and it is one of the best gaming engines for mobile gaming, and that is going to be capable of running with PeerPlays completely seamlessly. So I would look at something like that and integrating PeerPlays core to work alongside with that, so that your mobile phone could do all that at once. In regards to hardware wallets, I would probably then look at them more like a backup. You could certainly be able to have it available. If something happened to your mobile, you'd be able to take your backup and still be able to access your keys and whatnot. But we are excited about hardware wallets in regards to being able to keep your funds secure, because clearly, as everything I've named, PPY tokens are very likely to be some very valuable tokens, which act as a basket of tokens, because with all the activity that's taking place, just holding PPY means that your wallet is filling up with Bitcoin and Dash and Ethereum and PIVX and BTS and BitUSD and all these tokens, which you can then be able to either just hold, trade, or get involved with the various communities and be a big part of the this blockchain universe.
Well, I'll say this. I'm personally going to be getting some PeerPlays. I will try to vote on BTS personally. Real quick, you're going to be starting out with at least one, right? Which is going to be betting with. Is it going to be betting with Bitcoin at first?
Yeah, as far as like at least starting with one, Bitcoin is the obvious choice. Simply because the volume, the support, the infrastructure, it's clearly leaps and bounds beyond anything else, even second to it. Ethereum doesn't even come close, and they're the second runner up. So Bitcoin is the one that makes the most sense in regards to the starter coin for PeerPlays, and then from there, looking at adding the others as we go forward.
Looking forward to seeing which coins communities rally together to see if they can get on the chain first. That's going to be very interesting. You're dropping PIVX a lot, so I'm not going to question too much about why, but I will say if anybody wants to get a hold of you guys or find out more updates, how would they go about doing these things?
Yeah, sorry. I guess I mentioned them quite a bit because they've actually been personally in contact with us in regards to PeerPlays. So that's been an interesting development, that we're actually seeing blockchains like them, who are like projects like theirs, that are contacting us, wanting to work with us, because they can see everything that I've just described here in this update as the benefits that is offered to their own blockchains. So to get a hold of us, you can either email us, powerup@peerplays.com. You can reach out to us at our various social media channels. We are all over Facebook, all over Twitter. You can reach us at Twitter at PeerPlays. You can reach us at Telegram at PeerPlays. You can reach us in Reddit. We have a Reddit subreddit at PeerPlays, and well, not at PeerPlays, but our PeerPlays, and and you could also reach us on Steemit.com, also at PeerPlays. So we've done a really good job at securing our brand here. So we're very easily available anywhere, and of course, you can even just Google us and find all these various places for PeerPlays. But I highly recommend getting in touch via the Telegram group or getting in touch with us via Twitter. That tends to be where the two places where we're the most active. So that's about it.
Well, you guys can understand why it's hard to keep these segments extremely short, because even though Data said there's nothing to really update other than a couple things, there's always something to get into that's important for the community. And it's also good for everybody to kind of rehash it for all the newbies. So what I will say is, when we cut these up, please consider sharing these guest speakers portions of the Hangout and the full Hangout as well. Getting the word out about these people and their willingness to be out in the open and provide a level of transparency to their operations that is kind of unprecedented is very important thing for us to do. And the more that we do this as a community, the more that guests like these hidden gems or otherwise hidden gems will continue coming around more and more. So let's get as many of these amazing people together as possible is my point. So if you guys as guests and as listeners and as Beyond Bitcoin community members who are here, please consider that just taking 30 seconds to share this content with a friend is a big help, and it doesn't take any money. It's something that I think will help all of these people who are joining up and doing this for us. So thank you very much, Data. Thank you to everybody who's here. John, Steamrolling is going to be next. I want to say thank you to you, Mariva Cap, because you're going to be the one who's talking about BitCash today, correct?
That's correct, Fuzzy. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly. It's been a little while. I know that you are a veteran of the BitShares community, and I suspected that you were still working on stuff because your other projects are still alive. So what's going on in your ecosystem? You have some updates today that you'd like to give us, and right? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Be talking about BitCash today, and be happy to do that. For those that don't know, my name is June. I'm Mariver Cap on the BitShare system and Steamrolling on Steemit, and I'd be happy to just give an update on the BitShare side with BitCash.
Why don't we go a little bit? Let's back up a little bit. A lot of the listeners who listen are not necessarily familiar with BitCash, and because this is one of our earlier hangouts, right? Because you've been here for a while. Could you go maybe give like a 2-minute introduction to what BitCash is and a little bit about why you chose BitShares, and then get into that so those who are kind of new to this feel like they can be on the same plane?
Sure, be happy to do that. So just a little bit of background. I started following the BitShares ecosystem back in early 2015, primarily because of the dollar token. It's a dollar token, specifically the BitUSDM here in the US, that doesn't have any counterparty risk. So you could have these dollar tokens that you keep to yourself without having to hold in a bank. Much easier to use than a volatile token like Bitcoin for payments. And so I thought that was the killer feature for the BitShares ecosystem. So early 2015, that's kind of the main reason I stuck with the BitShares ecosystem, because they had a very unique solution for that. And so BitCash is a business that came out of that to enable payments just like PayPal and Venmo for the masses. where people, wouldn't have to know about cryptocurrency or anything like that, but they'd use a technology that's very efficient, low cost, fast, and a system where you didn't need a bank, so you wouldn't get frozen or limited with your money. And so I thought that was a great mainstream solution, mainstream technology that would solve a lot of problems that Bitcoin has. So anyways, that's the background with that. And so probably mid 2015 or so, started trying to develop a basic crypto dollar wallet. So that's what BitCash is. It's a digital wallet where you could just hold just that one token, the dollar token, and use it for spending. And the main thing was to try to get out to the masses to use. After a while of testing this out just to regular users, the dominant solution in this space is Venmo and PayPal still. So it's a crowded space. So we have to find a niche to try to get growth. And so, after kind of looking into a couple different areas, higher risk industries that, need this kind of solution are more likely to use it, and also the cannabis industries and things in that area, realized that the one of the best places to use this dollar wallet is actually as just a bridge. And this is this is an hypothesis, is a bridge to get into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So using the dollar wallet as a bridge into these cryptocurrencies was actually the most natural niche. And that's what I'm working on right now. It's just a way to use BitCash as, and this is our first use case, and then we'll tackle Venmo and PayPal and all the payment solutions afterwards. But the first use case really is just to use this dollar wallet so that people can use it more like a local Bitcoins, or a gateway so they can exchange dollars for BitCash. And mind you, BitCash is a it's like BitUSD, but it's slightly different. We used the functionality in the BitShare system to create a variation of the smart coin. So it's a little bit different from BitUSD, but it works exactly like BitUSD. It just has some design I guess tweaks. And so anyway, so BitCash, we imagine people are going to just trade their dollars for BitCash. Once they have BitCash, they'll go ahead and use that to buy either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or others, because we're going to create the second part of it, which is just an exchange from BitCash to people to get other coins. So that's our first use case, and that's hopefully in maybe a couple weeks we'll have that ready for people. So there's two steps I want to discuss about this. I mean, the first step is we just have a dollar wallet, right? So and the first step is just getting BitCash in the wallet. And one of the problems with Bitcoin just these days in general is it's hard to get. It's hard to get Bitcoin. There's not a lot of gateways, especially in the U.S. Coinbase is pretty much the monopoly, and local Bitcoins is the other way, where there's higher fees. It's faster, but it's there's higher fees involved. But I think the key is to get more of a peer-to-peer exchange system going, where people are just seamlessly trading into cryptocurrency and BitCash specifically, because it's easier, so that they can naturally go into Bitcoin and other currencies. So it solves I think the gateway solution in a peer-to-peer manner. This is
question.
Go ahead.
Couple of questions actually. The first one was, you mentioned that it's very much like BitUSD but different. I'd like to know how it's different. And second, have you heard of cash to crypto, and how does your service compare with them?
So real quick on the first part, really the design difference between BitCash and BitUSD is that there is no forced settlement. So I think that design allows for a more efficient trading market, especially favoring shorters that won't have to be concerned that they'll be called on their positions. So essentially, I think it makes it more efficient and also makes it more traded closer to the price that exists, and I think that's incredibly important. So anyways, so that's the only design, I think, change. We also so it was removing forced settlement, and also I think our minimum collateral ratio. This gets a little technical, but is different from BitUSD, and so you need 175% collateral. It's roughly the same, but I know because of the settlement and BitUSD, there's differences there. I forget exactly what BitUSD is right now. So those are the changes. Cash to crypto, I think I heard of it maybe a year or two ago. It's probably similar in concept, but what we're doing is we're using BitCash as the in the BitShare system as the intermediary bridge into crypto. So I imagine people peer-to-peer will trade BitCash for cash rather than just going straight to crypto, because it's easier exchanging dollar for dollar. I'll answer a real quick question here. Why not use BitUSD now? It has a bigger market cap. I think there's definitely a great advantage to use BitUSD, since it does have, I think, half a million in market cap right now. And BitCash, we're gonna probably start with a small float, and just create maybe 5,000-10,000 worth of BitCash. But BitUSD, it's I think important to try different designs. If the BitCash design turns out to be very good, especially since we're in the early stage, maybe BitUSD can just mimic the design that we have. So I'm totally open to that. But it's an ideal time for experimentation. And I think it's important enough to use this alternate design, especially in the beginning, and especially because this first use case, people are not going to be holding BitCash for the long run. They're just going to use it as a bridge into other tokens. So there's more flexibility there. So it's good to experiment and try this alternate version that may be actually in the long run better. So anyways, at this early stage, that's kind of the idea behind that. Try something that I think is better, an alternate version, and then we'll see if it turns out BitUSD is better, we can kind of switch over, or if this turns out to help BitUSD update the design, then I think that's also great. So hopefully that answers the question for everybody there.
Well, I'll ask a quick question. What has your experience been like dealing with the creation of your own asset on the exchange?
It's been good. It's really setting up the parameters of the coin is the important thing, and all we did was make a couple tweaks, and so Bytemaster Dan Larimer did a fantastic job opening it up to have that flexibility, because I think in his mind, he was open to other alternative designs, and he said he'll create a system that allows people to make adjustments to the parameters, and so he designed it that way, and I thought that was fantastic. It was because that's really kind of was important to me to have this alternative design. So it's not too difficult to do. I'm hoping eventually that it picks up as an alternative to BitUSD. That is, and also hopefully the other thing I'm hoping, if we get enough traction here, that the committee members will I want to kind of move ownership from us to the committee members. Right now we control the parameters. That's all we can do, of course. But I'd rather have that control, even though it's just the parameters that we control. I want that to eventually go to the committee. But for now, since we're small, it's okay. I mean, we can kind of handle the parameters and just manage that. So anyways, I know. I guess just kind of getting back to the concept. The first part of it is having people get a BitCash wallet, fill it with BitCash, the alternate to BitUSD, by just trading it peer-to-peer via either Venmo or PayPal and more of the higher those methods just to get in. Hopefully, it's probably starting with small denominations. We have a system where there's like a rating system, a basic rating system, so that to encourage people to, build their trust, kind of their reputation in these peer-to-peer exchanges. So, because with PayPal and Venmo and others, there's higher risk of chargebacks, where if you're a buyer of BitCash, if it's a large amount, you could just ask Venmo or PayPal to rescind that transaction or retract that transaction. So we have to be careful about that. But for small denominations, I don't think it's actually going to be a big deal. And if you have a reputation system, it's also helped. So that's what I want to encourage, because it's the easiest way for people to get into crypto. Otherwise, it's going to take them, just if they go through, even Coinbase takes 3 to 5 days. Local Bitcoins it's still a very difficult, I think, process. I have friends, and whenever I get, and I either give Bitcoin and other, tokens to them, or I say, hey, do you have PayPal? And you can just send $20 over, and I give them $20 worth of Bitcoin. That's the easiest way to get people onboarded. So anyway, so that's the idea. The first part is getting the BitCash wallet, trading BitCash for dollars 1-for-1 using PayPal and other digital means. Second concept is the one we're coming out with, which is once you have BitCash, we're going to have a platform where you just send your BitCash in, and then you could buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all these other tokens. We're probably going to start with about 6 tokens. It's going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, BitShares, Steam, and then we're doing the Zcash, and there's actually Z Classic, a smaller version. So we're just going to start with that because those are the most familiar to me. But we'll keep adding other coins, probably the top 10, and just add others so that people could just find an easy way to get into these other Bitcoin and all these other alternatives. So that's really the rundown. I don't want to take too long, but hopefully that explains what we're up to. Hopefully we'll have the BitCash trade up in a couple weeks, so that you can do this whole process where you get BitCash, and then you could get into all this new, all these alternative coins in Bitcoin. Looking for just people to help with kind of more the being brokers of the dollars. We're trying to build that network where we have a lot of people, trusted sellers that will send BitCash for cash. And I think imagining that being, I think to me that's the key for this decentralized world, to have all these peer-to-peer transactions rather than going through centralized gateways. And so I think that's the key. William Banks, what's the market cap BitCash right now? We don't even really have much of a float, but we'll seed it with maybe 5, 10, 15,000, and we just need a small float to circulate back and forth, because people are going to get BitCash and then they're going to exchange it back to us because they're going to buy a different cryptocurrency, right? So it's just, we don't need a large float for BitCash. The question was, what's the market cap on BitCash? So William Banks, would you like to be on our ATMs? Sure, I'd be happy to talk to you, William Banks, about ATMs, and yeah, that'd be fantastic. We're still early stage, so again, it's we'll that's probably something down the road. And Brindle Swan asks about hardware wallets. Yeah, down the road it'd be fantastic to have hardware wallets where we just have BitCash or BitUSD on it. I think that would be fantastic. And I'm in San Francisco Bay Area. I'm in the East Bay, but in San Francisco Bay Area, so I could actually talk to the Ledger guys, because I know they have an office in San Francisco. So yeah, I'll give an update on PeerHub maybe the next time. I know this is running a little late here. One last thing I wanted to talk about with BitCash. There's another unique way to get into. So the way BitShares works is you use your collateral to create, like you can create BitCash yourself, just like you could create BitUSD. So for all the BitShares holders that want to leverage their positions a little bit, they can create BitCash or USD, either one. For BitCash, you're going to be able to use a BitCash to trade into Bitcoin and Ethereum. So let's say you have a big stash of BitShares. You could create this and say, hey, I want a little leverage. I want to get a little more exposure to Bitcoin or Ethereum or a few other tokens. You just create BitCash and then you trade it with us to buy the Bitcoin or Ethereum. And now you have additional positions. You're kind of leveraging your BitShares collateral to get exposure to other assets. Now, there is a little bit more risk because you're using your collateral to get additional exposure to assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatever you choose. But I think that's great. People want that. Sometimes they feel like, oh, hey, my BitShares is just sitting there. If I can get more exposure to some other coin, whether it's a short-term or long-term, that's actually, I think, very attractive, and you can do that using the system. The other thing is if you are very conservative, it does, you can actually buy, let's say, Steam dollars and get a little bit of interest rate by using your BitShares collateral to trade to BitCash and then BitCash to Steam dollars or something like that. So there's a variety of different ways you can use this to leverage yourself, and even also not have to take more risk. You could just get something more dollar based, like the Steam dollar, which gives you interest. So instead of your BitShares just sitting there, you got a big stash of it. Might as well get into either something safe, let's say with Steam dollars, or something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or something else that you're excited about and that's what we're trying to provide. So,
well, basically what you're saying is that you're going to provide the ability for people to stay within the BitShares ecosystem and say, hey, I think short term, this one coin that's trading on that I'm able to get, let's say Ethereum, I think it's going to go up far more in the next couple weeks than BitShares or Bitcoin or any number of other coins. I'm going to put my tokens in that, but I'm still going to be using the BitShares ecosystem to accomplish that. So I'm driving more demand and more volume on the DEX and using these solutions because the DEX offers all of these solutions to be able to be like extensions of itself.
Yeah, and just one clarification though. The way we're doing it is we're actually giving you real Bitcoin, real Ethereum, and it's actually not on that particular part of it is not on the DEX, but we're just treating the BitCash as dollars. So if you treat the BitCash as dollars, we'll give you Ethereum, we'll give you Bitcoin because we're just getting dollars in exchange, and so now you have exposure like with you need to have your own Ethereum, Bitcoin, and whatever altcoin wallet, but you just keep it with you and you have that, and all you're doing is you're just trading in your BitCash for that, but that's just based on your BitShares collateral. So it works out well where you have control, you have the keys for all the other altcoins that you get into, and
so they control the key. You guys act kind of as a go-between.
Yeah, we're just a bridge. We just exchange it. We just we'll accept the BitCash as if they're dollars. So just that's, to me, that's a great application use case, I think, of saying, hey, this is just a dollar. We treat it like a dollar because it's backed by BitShares, and we treat it like a dollar. And I think that's the mentality that I think people are going to have, that it's just, hey, it's just worth a dollar. I could use it as a dollar. I can pay things with just like a dollar, and the benefits. It's no one's going to freeze it. No one's going to take it away. It's that's the beauty behind it.
Is there any possible way that you could come back again so we could dig into this a little bit more in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Be happy to. I know this went a little bit longer, but yeah, I'd be happy to talk more about it. It's exciting stuff, and we're about to kind of get this out in the next week or two, and that'll probably give me even more. It'll give people a better way to just test it out and see how it works. So
there's a critical side of me that tells me, Fuzzy, don't be so pumped. But it seems like there's just so many good ideas that are starting to grow up in the BitShares ecosystem that started out as seedlings when we were covering them early days. And it's just nice to see that they're actually like starting to get a little bit of traction. They're getting to the point where they're able to function on their own and have legs. So I would love to continue getting some updates on this, and I look forward to some more cool use cases with BitShares, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Fuzzy. Yeah, definitely be like happy to come back and just kind of just give updates, and thanks for all you're doing, and thanks everybody for listening. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. Be excited to kind of just collaborate and speak with all of you guys about this project, and so we can just kind of work together, get things moving here.
Well, how do people contact you if they're interested in maybe partnering up or working with you in some way, shape, or form, or maybe they just have some questions as a user? How would they go ahead and contact you?
So email probably is good. It's my email is June. It's JUN. So it's JUN at bitcash.org. Our website is bitcash.org, O-R-G instead of the com. And that's the best way. I'm on Telegram, BitShares Telegram and things like that. That might, if you guys just pop in a question there, I'll be able to answer there. That's probably the best way.
Well, thanks very much for joining up and providing a little bit of a historical context for what's going on in the BitShares ecosystem. And it's really cool to see these growths and these developments. And I know that they're going to just continue going on because people like you guys just don't stop. So there's only one way to go then, in my mind, and that's forward. So I look forward to more things from you. And I look forward to hearing a little bit more and letting the community maybe ask some more questions, because I think that this is a project that they will have plenty. I know I have plenty. So with that said, thank you. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to Virtual Growth, who's going to be talking about Virgrow and the various projects that I almost want to call it a kaleidoscope, because it's always a changing landscape, but Virtual Growth finds some really cool gems in the ecosystem. So I look forward to hearing what he has to say today. Virgrow, are you here?
Yes.
I know I just called you after your token, but it almost makes me want to keep doing it because it felt good. I'll just step back at that point and I'll let you move forward with your up.
All right, now a kaleidoscope token. Interesting. What's next? Anyways, carrying on. Working with many tokens, I've given away a few hundred tokens this week. I also gave away 75 Golos on Golos. I made an update which includes Golos and Ruble on the BitShares as far as the price data and how to use BitShares, how to join, just basic information data, which I did before about a month ago. And somebody says they were interested, so I pursued that a little more. Working with Mr. Wing, we talk nearly every day, throwing ideas back and forth with each other, as we've mentioned before. As Wayne Chang's asset is available on BitShares, some people are concerned that you can't get profit sharing unless you have a whole token. So that's part of the reason why I created WangSense. So WangSense will be 1/100th Wang change approximately. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but it will grow in value. People will receive either more Wang change or WangSense, or WangSense will increase in value. So there will be a reinvest from the payouts I receive from Wang change will be partially reinvested in WangSense as a way of sharing those profits with people that are smaller holders. And then if people want to, they can collect 100 Wang cents or so and get a full Wang change token and get all the profit sharing for themselves if they're interested. So that's another evolving and forever changing idea of like everything else. I'm also working with and Steam Factory. I give away those tokens. I was given tokens by PeerMike. Hundreds of tokens for Steam Factory, as well as Task Manager and Prize Portal, which is another thing by Task Manager. People can go to vote on posts and you give away gifts. And you can read more about that on the Prize Portal handle on it. Steemit.com, also called Task Manager on Steemit.com. If people own 50 Task Manager tokens, they get votes from the Task Manager accounts, and there will also be more buybacks from the Task Manager soon as well. You can read about it on their account. Links to that in my post as well. Another one is Raymond Johnstone I've been talking to lately. You may have seen his Steam Stars game idea. You go there and you see a map of all your followers. He has created a token on Counterparty. Recently gave me 500 tokens of that asset, I believe, which I can give away to people. If people are interested in doing giveaways or contests with these tokens, feel free to let me know. I have plenty of tokens to do things where you can share token value and revenues or whatever between each other and work together to grow in a virtual growth sense, kind of like my name. Another person who reached out to me was Surpassing Google with his Steemit is Beautiful tag. Some people may have seen that post. He also invited a few people there in this community, in the Steemit community. He asked me to possibly help lead his group. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do in that venture yet, but I will talk to him more as well as everybody else. I also joined Viva Coin Chat today, which I should have joined earlier, but made in William Banks here of the Viva coin, which I love the ideas with. Remember reading about that before, and we had some people in Steam Prentice to help him before with the auctions that he did originally on Steam at months back. Block is another thing. They have a world tour. They are going to be in New York at Consensus on May 22nd to the 24th. I may drop by there to go check that out because that sounds pretty interesting, and be interested to start traveling to things. And some of us here have talked about doing this in different ventures and possibly in Arizona this summer. I'm interested in that as well, potentially. Another one is Garden of Eden, which has they do many things which I am very interested in here, hold dear to heart, being the Boy Scouts and living off the resources of land and such, and they sell health products. And I also recently acquired other Steemit names, including vitamins, nutrients, and drinks. So I'm thinking to post on those as far as healthy things to explain to people their ideas. I'm going to work with Mr. Wang, because he did a fitness video at one point where we could explore that route and do things together as we enjoy doing. And I also talked to, sounds good. And I talked to a few people at the Garden of Eden at times too. So maybe we can even do giveaways with Garden of Eden. Who knows? I mean, we have all sorts of possibilities, and look at what other people do and whatnot to go together and work together and help people out, which we love to do in this crypto space. And I'll pause for a moment if anybody has any feedback, interactions, questions, or anything else.
We missed you at the marketing meeting last Wednesday, Virtual Growth. Sorry you couldn't be there.
Yeah, I was wiped out that day. Some days I'm very tired. But recently I worked out over an hour yesterday, which felt good. My body struggles after the meningitis some days. Because I don't sleep well. My ears are ringing sometimes, so it's draining.
You watch all my videos,
got make sure to be the next.
Sorry.
No problem. It's like, hello, Mr. Wayne.
Well,
but I'll be in the Telegram chat. Go ahead, Mr. Wayne.
No, I was just trying to fill in about your working out stuff, but I didn't mean to interrupt. I just heard silence.
No problem. And if people want to reach out to me, ideas at Telegram group, feel free. I'm definitely reading there, and I'll be responding. Yes, Fuzzy, people talking is good. We like interactions, don't we? Rather than the silence.
Very true.
Yeah, but comfort is another thing.
There you go. I'm gonna shut up.
Why shut up? Company to each other is fun.
I'm ready. You know, I'm backing you up on what you say, but I'm just backing up a little too late. So my clutch ain't on time right now.
That's all right. Time doesn't exist. We're all in one moment, so it all works.
This is very true.
And my philosophical points make things in as well. Right, I just got a message from Garden Eden on Steemit.chat. All those interactions and reaching out. I replied to a post at one point and possibly visiting. He's always like, we're welcome anytime. So I'll probably visit there before the end of the year.
Well, what I was going to say before I decided to try to produce a little bit of silence for everybody to feel like they should say something, like I like to do from time to time. What I was going to say is, it seems like you've got another potentially big project that you're working on, and you're not even sure quite yet how big or what's going to go on, because the term leader can be a loaded term, right?
Of course.
So I look forward to hearing about how much less sleep you get as this one emerges, to see what the leadership means. Maybe it'll surprise me and it'll be like something very simple. But leadership tends to, in my experience at least, open up a whole wondrous plethora of, maybe we can call them opportunities. The glass type, the glass half empty type of person might call them obligations. But it will be interesting to see where that goes, man.
Leadership, two forms of leadership is just leading people as a way to follow, to be themselves, if that kind of makes sense.
That's the best form of leadership.
Exactly, and a lot of people lead with these different ideas of rules and authority, and a lot of us talk about how those things don't actually exist. It's a very trying game of learning. I was in the Boy Scouts for 8 years, and I made it all the way to Eagle Scout because I was a leader. And I was nominated by a majority, and I actually stayed an extra week with other troops, sometimes from inner city troops, and they actually asked me to be the leader of their group. So I just said, okay, sure, let's do this and see what happens. Just make the best of it.
Well, you're right. True leaders let other people's uniqueness shine, and their own value propositions shine. That's what I've always believed myself.
Exactly.
And it's good to see, because following what you're doing, you're always working in the different things that are going on within the community, and that means that you're doing similar things to what that is. But the cool thing is now we have these UIAs, these things called user-issued assets for people who are listening for the first time. And it's something that's a cryptographically secured token, just like Bitcoin or anything, but it's yours. And you don't have to have a bunch of people mining it and selling it out of your control on an exchange somewhere. You create the value proposition for it. And you're kind of like reflecting that light using tokens a lot of the time, which is really cool to me, because this is really history that we're making in a lot of ways. And it's kind of weird to say it. I kind of laugh when I say it, because it's crazy that that's what we're doing. But this is kind of what I see as your part in this, is your biggest part in this, is that you kind of reflect that light, not with a mirror, but with tokens, and saying, oh, this one's going to be cool. This person's token is going to be cool.
Right.
And that to me, that's the essence of Virgrow. So that's what I'll say, and I'll leave it with that. But
that is the essence of Virgrow. A few people actually give me tokens for helping them out and consulting with them. Some of them actually pay me in some type of currency, Steam backdoors, Bitcoin, or whatever. And the people ask me, what do they want me to want? And I'm like, well, I don't want, what I want is whatever you want to give me. I don't really have a choice in that matter. And I've gotten hundreds of tokens from people, and some of those are going to be worth hundreds of dollars essentially. And I give someone a way to spread the wealth, and I work with people, and I tell them, just message me anytime. I'm happy to help. And that's what I'm here for. And if anybody wants help with anything, I'm an open mind. One of my favorite philosophical things is the first principle of mentalism by Hermes, which is the mind of all. I'll leave it at that. And the universe is mental.
Well, there's one final thing that I would like. You never plug it and ask for upvotes a whole lot, so I would like to just plain out say it. The BitShares ecosystem, and beyond Bitcoin, people, a lot of them are tight in the BitShares ecosystem, so to speak, as the kids say, tight. And I would urge them, since we're all looking at marketing in that ecosystem, and since you're giving away tokens in that ecosystem based on how much your posts earn, you're doing giveaways essentially. I would urge people from this community to reach out to both upvote these giveaway posts and ask others to upvote them as well, because the more tokens we can get into the hands of people who are very interested in graphene technology and what we can accomplish with it, and what we have, let's face it, what we have accomplished with, I think the better. And he's doing the work by hand. Soon, Virtual Growth, you will have tools, my friend. But he's doing it by hand, which is a lot of work. So I would urge everybody to consider giving him some upvotes and some SP in addition. Now, with that said, how do people reach out to you, VG?
Yeah, one last point on those tokens, when I give them away, I keep part of it for myself, part of it goes to Virgrow. So people, as a lot of people thanked me for the information, and getting free tokens allowed people to figure out how to freely trade. And if people have Trail or other things and they don't have BitShares to pay the fee, well, then go into that giveaway and ask for a BitShares token. You might get like 10 of them, and then you'll have BitShares to trade your tokens. And as far as reaching out to me, you can find me as Virtual Growth on Steemit.chat, Discord, and now Viva Coin as well, and Gmail, and probably a few other places, but I'll leave it to those. Those are the ones I use the most. Oh, and yeah, that's it for now.
Sounds good. Well, thank you as always for joining up and giving us some updates on what you're into, because
you're very welcome.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and you can give us a lot of updates on what's going on in the community pretty succinctly. And what you're doing is really tying in with that community. So you have to know what's going on, or your projects fail, right? So thank you for passing on that knowledge and the kind of the research that's going on behind the scenes.
Knowledge is everything.
Yes, it is. That's why ask the NSA, ask all these other quasi governmental agencies. But anyway, with that said, thank you, and thank you everybody for joining up to these Hangouts. I just want to reiterate that sharing these Hangouts and telling everybody about these Hangouts, people who you think are running good projects, who are trustworthy, who maybe if people saw how trustworthy and competent they are, they would get some funding. Maybe they'd be able to have their own tokens. Consider letting them know about these Hangouts, that they exist, so they can get a little bit of coverage. And tell them that you upload them, and share them on social media. Share them with friends. These are the ways that we kind of echo all of this out into existence. If we have this archive, it's a beautiful thing. Sharing it is far more beautiful. So with that said, I'm going to stop plugging my public service messages and move on.
And William Banks is next. He's last, remember?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And I'm going to open it up for William Banks, who is talking about Viva Coin. William, are you there? Do you have everything set up? You got to unmute yourself if you're trying to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Perfectly. Does your push to talk? Does your push to talk button work?
Yes, it's working now. I don't have headphones functional. I'm sorry, I woke up with my headphones dog chewed. Okay, so Viva Coin, we have been building this for actually several years. It's kind of been a slow build out. We've been working on the basics, the fundamentals, the dynamics of it, and we finally got that nailed down. We started releasing white papers, announcing it, talking around, and we're starting to get a little bit of coverage. We got a little coverage in Newsweek, a little magazine. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. The key component of Viva Coin is that it's meant to be as painless as possible for the end user. So a lot of cryptocurrencies, they want to make the end user ultimately responsible, which is fine for people who are responsible with computers, but it doesn't work for grandma. Your grandma loses her Bitcoin wallet. She's lost all her coins. She's going to be very, very sad if you manage to get her into Bitcoin in the first place. So what we've done is we've created a system that allows for multiple authentication rather than a single point of authentication, and that was one of the key components. You have an account within the system, and you have designated or delegated signing authority, and so as long as you can log into one or more of those, you always have access to your funds. Once we started looking at that concept, and it really started with the idea of a medical record system. Down here in Mexico, there is a need to move over to a digital system, because at the moment there is no electronic health record system, and the companies that do electronic health record systems are not interested in talking to some guy who has a medical facility down in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. He just does not make enough money to pay for the records and storage and all that good stuff. So we started looking at that when I got down here in conjunction with iMaxis, and we decided, blockchain would be a really good solution to this. And so we built a coin who allows for storage, but the storage is free, and you just pay a little bit to retrieve. And from there grew the idea of all these economics. What happens when you start looking at the way things are and you flip them on their head? And so a lot of the way that Viva works is actually backwards from the way that normal crypto works. You don't just have one key, you have an account. You don't have just one primary login. You actually can log into any mint and access and manage your account from that mint. And you have multiple keys that have different authorities within the system, and you grant those keys their various authorities. This one has access to my medical records. This one has access to my financial records. And from there, we've just kind of sort of grown it a little bit. Right now, we're getting ready to do an ICO on our Viva crowns, and crowns are exceptionally important within the Viva ecosystem. One thing that Viva has to do as sort of a core fundamental of what we do is to provide some semblance of price stability on our base coin. Our base coin is called Viva, or Viva coins, and the crown holders actually provide that stability by controlling the supply. So we don't have mining, we have minting, and minting is just a result of, we declare there are going to be X number of coins entering circulation, and the number of crowns that you hold determines how many Viva coin you're going to mint that month. If you don't own enough crowns to cover your debts, you can always buy what we call treasury rights. Treasury rights are the rights of other crown holders to mint Viva, and they're basically selling it to you, and then you use that to pay your debt, because everything in the Viva economy is settled in Viva coin. And that provides for some really interesting dynamics within the market, but it also allows us to apply positive pressure to keep the price trading within the target, and so crown holders get to set both the target and the supply, and that helps us provide stability to the market, because the last thing you want to do when you're trying to go get groceries is wonder if your coin is now $5 or $1, and nobody can really push the coin outside of that range, because we all agree, hey, this coin is going to be worth about $5.50 today. All the gateways are expected to redeem at that, or they just don't get the right to be a gateway that day. So this has created a lot of what I like to call extra stuff that comes along. We start looking at, okay, so how do we solve the last mile problem? I really liked what BitCash is trying to do, trying to solve that. Let's get people on, let's get people off. Viva's owned a couple of ATMs here in Baja for a while. We're striking a deal with a pretty serious bar and restaurant that I can't really mention right now, but we'll be deploying, I think, about 150 ATMs in the US. And these will be both crypto enabled and debit card enabled, and so that will obviously pipe straight into TradeQuick, where we trade Viva back and forth into various currencies, and that back and forth and up and down of people trading in and out of various currencies using Viva as a sort of a middle coin and using it to drive demand that way actually is actually the cylinders in the engine of our economy. So that is what I've got right now. I wanted to kind of open this up and see if maybe we could do like an AMA type of thing. I don't want it to go forever, but if people have questions for me about Viva, I would be more than happy to answer anything.
Where in Baja are you?
We're primarily in Tijuana. We have the first ATM is obviously in iMaxis, which is over in Cacho, and then we have the second ATM over in La Misión at Gary's La Fonda, which is a hotel and restaurant.
I guess I'm asking everybody else, so I'll ask you about hardware wallets as well.
Yeah, so hardware wallets aren't actually necessary with this system. We are looking at adding an EMV card to this and tying it in with MasterCard. Our business model is not to try and supplant the existing system, but to be part of it, play with it, and gradually move and change and get these people moving into crypto versus trying to have crypto totally replace the existing system. So, for instance, TradeQuick issues MasterCards.
So do you have any partnerships, like specific partnerships that you would like to talk about that would work with this? Like I'm trying to look at it from a bird's eye view first before we get into because the technical discussion can go for hours, to be honest with you. So from a bird's eye view, could we hit that one?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so everything is actually handled through partnerships, right? We don't do anything ourselves other than crank out the code to try and get things going. And then we work out business deals and try to bring players in from the outside world and try to show them the value of cryptocurrency. We've got this concept technically that we call proof of authority, which is basically the number of crowns you have controls the number of coins that you have. But our consensus model doesn't require the solid, firm consensus that a lot of other pretty much every other cryptocurrency does, where the entire network has to come to the same consensus. As long as everybody's ledger balances are correct, the order of transactions and who does what and that sort of thing isn't as important. So when we talk about bringing on partnerships, this actually allows us some pretty intense flexibility that I don't think you can really see with any other cryptocurrency. We can, for instance, use the same tech that we're using for medical records in order to do student transcripts, which is a thing that we've been discussing lately, which was actually backburnered for a while, but seems to be the one everybody wants to talk about. Putting an entire educational system on our blockchain, and you can actually participate in that. That would be a accrediting body, right? Some of the other projects that are going in on this, every one of them ends up with some sort of corporate sponsor on the end, and then crown holders working as a business intermediary, which I think is the most important part to remember with Viva is that we don't have mining pools. We don't let you just mine coin to dump into the market. You as a miner can sell your coin, but if you want to run a mining pool, you actually need to be a crown holder, and you need to have other business interests, because there is a downside to running a mint, and that is that when the supply numbers need to contract, guess who that comes out of? That comes out of the mints. And if you were just a mining pool, that would just be financially devastating to you. But if you've got other business interests attached and you're utilizing the Viva infrastructure to service those businesses, then it's just a cost of doing business, and it can be negligible.
Interesting. And so how it's set up essentially is if Bob holds a crown, he can either use that to mint it for his own services, or he can choose to sell it as like a treasury for, I'm assuming he locks it away for or promises to sell it for a specific period of time. It like leases it out almost. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, that's precisely what it is. So a treasury right is a 90-day contract to all the coins that would have been minted by that crown holder.
So if somebody wants to be an inactive holder of it, they can essentially every 3 months contract out those rights to somebody who does want to, but who doesn't want to necessarily buy the crowns themselves.
Yes, that's actually right. And there are people, I mean, our intention for a crown really is to be something you have to trade like a house for. I mean, we don't want crowns to even be thought of as a cryptocurrency in and of themselves. Yes, they have all the cryptocurrency aspects that you would normally expect, but they're an indivisible virtual asset. You can't own half a crown and do anything with it. But you can sell parts of a crown. It's not a useful thing to anyone. So integral versions of crowns should cost a significant quantity of cash in the long run, because they give you effectively unlimited rights within the ecosystem. And we are building this out with debit cards, with ATMs, with other businesses. We have another network that I'm literally coding like at 3 o'clock in the morning, where you can actually send crypto directly from your phone with SMS. So we're bypassing the whole you need an app, because you know what, down here internet is unreliable. So it doesn't matter what app you have, you just cannot send money to people using cryptocurrency, and especially if you have to do something like sync a blockchain. SVP doesn't work very well, so we spun up a mint. We call it Cashola. Cashola has an SMS gateway, and if you have a Viva account, you can send anything in your Viva account. And your Viva account can hold any kind of currency. It doesn't matter, dollars, pesos, British pounds, rubles, any of the cryptos that we support, which right now are Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. Oh God, I don't know. This list is getting really long. But you can just send that with a text. You just text to our phone number, send X number of coin, and then the phone number you want to send it to, and then they get a Viva account.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds wonderful. I won't lie. I think it's going to be really cool. The one thing that I could get deep into would be the question of how you get people incentivized to drop the supply when the necessity comes up, because the mechanism, like the greed aspect of people, tends to be strong. I mean, if anybody disagrees, go watch Black Friday videos.
Before we get too far away from the SMS thing, I have a question, but finish your thought there. Sorry to interrupt you, Fuzzy.
Oh, no, go ahead and go into the SMS questions. I was just seeing a bunch of activity talking about the SMS, and I was just going to ask this one question.
Can I just address it? It's like a 3-line answer to the whole how do you deal with greed. The network controls the supply, not the individuals. So what happens is, if you want to, we only do settlement on crowns once a week. Settlement is all mint to mint, and mint sign off on intermediary transactions. But final settlement is a once a week thing, and at final settlement, supply is signed off on. And in order for you to continue with the network, you have to sign off on the supply number that's agreed by the rest of the network, and it's sort of a go along to get along thing, right? And part of that supply is your balance as a mint, your liquid balance, which actually controls the supply directly, because your balance just went down dramatically because everybody took a 10% haircut or a 20% haircut or whatever's needed in order to maintain the pricing levels where they are. Now, we don't ever expect to do anything really drastic, like a 50% cut. But Viva coins are designed to exist and then not exist. In reality, what happens is they cycle between what we call the Viva liquidity pool, which is sort of a retirement account, which is completely illiquid. It's more like, in fact, I based the idea on what would happen if I powered up all my posts on Steam and then just put my account in power down mode, which, by the way, I have done, and sought to provide a sort of a living income for all the participants in the liquidity pool. So as a human being, you actually are more interested in the liquidity pool, and then the live Viva that's in the system, that's mostly about businesses, and the mints that mine it, the mints that bring this into existence, they're using that Viva to pay worker nodes for services within the Viva economy, and so much more. I mean, our intention is for Viva to be a settlement layer across everything, and for people really to think in terms of what we call VX, which are our market pegged instruments, which hold their peg always 1-to-1, because we just declare they're going to be worth that much, and then we bring in or eliminate enough currency to maintain those pricing levels. And the market's tasked with enforcing that rather than trying to enforce some artificial constraint, like we've got to have so much inflation within X period of time. I mean, nobody can predict that sort of thing. There's no mathematical model. that can really be used to say, okay, well, 21 million coins is enough for anyone, right? So it's like 640K is enough for anyone. So what we do is we say supply is a fluid number. And if you want to run a business that is involved in managing the supply, then it's going to be your supplies that are both increased when the times are good and also pinched when the times are bad. And in order to prevent the supply from being pinched, don't dump all your coins on the market.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. There's so much that I could bring up. I know Thomas had a quick question regarding the SMS. I'll go ahead and say if we can finish up this segment on here. But I would like to invite you to come back and we can discuss this further and archive the discussions so people can go back to them who are new and understand a little bit better maybe while they're listening, on a long plane flight or on a long drive when they don't have time to read. This is a great place to do so, and I would urge you to consider doing so because this is a great project, and I would love to hear a little bit more about it in detail. Unfortunately, 20 minutes is not quite enough. But Thomas, go ahead. And sorry for cutting you off, man.
The SMS questions I had to do with prepaid phones and authentication. The way you described using a phone to send some balance to another person with a phone number, I don't quite understand how it's authenticated and how KYC and all that stuff fits into the picture.
Okay, so the one thing you have to consider is the target market for this is the remittance market, and the AML KYC laws are going to vary not based upon who we're sending to, but who we're cashing out, who we convert actual, paper money for, and that's going to be up to individual agents. So we're kind of adopting sort of a Western Union type of model because that works, and it's also like a hydra, right? I mean, the government can come down on it all they want, but in the reality, it's just going to cause more of them to spring up. So the AML KYC is handled at the level of the person who is exchanging products or cash, really, not even products, but who is exchanging cash for the cryptocurrency. And the way the authentication works is actually pretty stinking simple. We already have a currency we call VX. It is a cryptographic token, and it trades internally within the Viva economy. And what you're doing is you're shuffling these back and forth. Your phone is functioning as a signer, and you can redeem individual codes to get your balance topped up. Those codes are generated by other people. You just text it to yourself. You say claim blah 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 code, and then that is in your account. And if you didn't have an account with that phone, you now have an account with that phone. And until you go and claim that phone is standalone. So it maintains an anonymity level like cash.
Well, that's very interesting. That sounds good. I like the anonymity aspects, but you figured out a way to bridge the gap between the anonymity concerns as well as the KYC concerns. So it's at the point of departure where the original value is that any kind of AML KYC type of concerns enter into the game, but the recipients, it's like you're just giving cash to the recipients, correct?
That's exactly what we're trying to do. In fact, we try to avoid even the word cryptocurrency, especially with mom and pop, and we tend to use the words digital cash, digital currency. And Japan actually passed a law that made really good distinction between virtual currency and digital currency. And so we're trying to follow the new Japanese law of exactly what a digital currency is when we classify ourselves that way.
Yeah, I heard about that from James Corbett, I believe, that whole idea. So I thought it was pretty positive news as well. And last night on Free Talk Live, I think we heard some positive news in a similar vein about New Hampshire's legislation concerning digital currencies.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Arizona actually just, if you follow my blog, Arizona just passed a law that makes smart contracts legally enforceable. et cetera, and so forth. I mean, there's just so much going on in this space, and I'm not a lawyer. We have lawyers. I'm a decent armchair lawyer. I'm more of kind of a nerd. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but I'm really more about this to scratch an itch with code and to see if I can, maybe take over the world financially in the process. But that's the laws they're changing, but they really are changing in our favor. I always hear this, oh well, the bankers are evil, blah blah blah. But in all honesty, some of the biggest proponents are in the banking infrastructure. You look at Ripple, it's pretty much entirely owned by Santander. They're using Ripple to replace Swift.
Anytime you say something's entirely owned by, that gives me a lot of reservation, because if there's one point of control like that, it can be controlled by somebody else and it's no longer for the people. So that's where my reservations come into play, is big monopolies that get control of things, like the money supply, for example.
Well,
I'm talking about control of the development and the majority supply control of Ripple. I mean, I'm not saying that this is an awesome thing. I'm saying that this is great little baby steps for bankers who are used to Oracle. Ripple is now a replacement for is now being evaluated as a replacement for some banks for their Oracle install, and that just means that more is out there. And that also means the way Ripple is structured, actually, that individuals will have Ripple in their account, and it'll be going back and forth with Ripple, which just kind of shocks me to see that growing, because Santander's a major bank down here. So every time I read about that, it made the newspaper down here. I was like, wow, this is awesome stuff. My point being that crypto is growing by leaps and bounds, and you don't see it unless you're really looking for the fintech side of things. The nerd side is really exciting. Well, we can, the egalitarian aspects might be going away in some regards. The whole, nerdgasm side of this is just awesome.
Well, just wait until it connects up with the IoT, the Internet of Things. That's when, to me, it's going to blow up, because we're getting to this point where, with things like the Unity engine and toolkits, people can really build worlds. And with the introduction of virtual reality and things like that, you're starting to see that this stuff is emerging as something that's not going away. It's only going to grow. And one of the best ways of having cash in the Internet of Things is going to be having it backed by a blockchain. So, yeah.
Honestly, I think that's going to be the only way to do cash in the future. If you take a look at what's happening with IoT, you have these huge security aspects, right? But if you were to able to turn every light bulb into a node on, say, BitShares or Viva or whatever, and give it some real functionality, you could do some pretty amazing stuff, even financially. I mean, what if running your light bulb at night was actually making you a few pennies, right?
Oh yeah, there's so much, but what I will do right now, before we go into that deep, I don't even want to call it a chasm, because it's almost like an explosion in space. We could go through for hundreds of thousands of light years and talk about all of this, but I would love to keep the focus on you just for the closure of this segment, and that would be just to say, if people are interested in the ICO, or they're interested in asking some questions, or maybe working with you guys in some way, shape, or form, how would they contact?
Okay, so the easiest way to contact me is actually on chat.vivaco.in. I just sort of live there 24/7 right now. Let me give you just a fast rundown on the crypto fundamentals, since I forgot that that's really important for most of people that are looking to invest. Viva crowns, there's only ever going to be 42,000 of them. One is found each week. For our ICO, there's 10,500 that were minted. Quite a few have been distributed. If you saw my auctions on Steemit, we've been running basically continuous sales since we started talking about it early. In fact, I see quite a lot of of actual Viva ground holders here, and I'm really glad for the turnout there. So of the 10,500, we have 6,500 provisioned for the ICO. The ICO occurs exclusively in Viva. So if you want a crown, the way you do it is you go to Trade Quick and you set up an account there. And once you have an account in Trade Quick, you actually have a Viva account. They're fungible. So you deposit money, you buy some Viva, and then you bid for crowns. Right now, crowns are going for, I believe, 150, 160 Viva. Individual Viva vary a little bit, but it's held its peg. Viva itself is supposed to trade anywhere between, it's 550 plus or minus 10%. We do that plus or minus 10%. And so about 155 Viva right now per crown. When we go to ICO, it'll be a minimum 200, but really it's actually just a continuous market thing. And the nice thing about our ICO is, you're welcome to buy and sell into the middle of that as much as you want. It's just on our market. The primary purpose of the ICO is actually to bring in external investors, people who've never heard of crypto before. We've got this huge marketing outreach through all of our social media channels, all of our business channels, talking to people about what cryptocurrency and digital currencies can do for them and how we can impact their business by reducing costs and making maintenance easier and et cetera and so forth. So fundamentals, 42,000 coins ever, 10,500 coins have been minted, one is found each week. The way that we find a crown is through the settlement process, mint to mint, and basically it involves solving the traveling salesman problem, which is an NP hard problem.
Cut out, William.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the last thing you heard me say?
That it was an NP hard problem.
Oh, that actually was the last thing I said, and then I started hearing some things go beep beep on my computer, so I thought that maybe somebody was trying to talk to me.
No, that's just us recording. Don't worry about that.
All right. So, this is my first, so honestly, I don't know what goes next, and this is where we get into that uncomfortable silence period. So, I'm going to let you have the table.
There's no need for uncomfortable silence. I just want to say I'm glad that you came on today, and I will welcome you back, and I'm sure everybody here would welcome you to join up anytime you would like. There are projects that join us weekly. Actually, many of the people who are here today join us weekly, including guest speakers. So we understand that projects are living things, that things change. Slight things might change. Sometimes big things change. But a project evolves, and it's nice to be able to give people a voice and the ability to kind of archive that and have hangouts where people can ask questions. And that's what we are here for. So I would welcome you to come back anytime. Feel free to RSVP. You know how to do it. You'll get paid part of what this hangout gets in Liquid Steam. And I would love to say to everybody else here, if this project is something that you like and that you appreciate, please feel free to support it and make sure that you do. And this goes for any of the other guest speakers here. But before we go, William, how would somebody contact you if they're interested in this project?
The easiest way is to go to our Rocket Chat site, which is chat.vivaco.in, and I'll put a link in here in just a minute. The second easiest way is to email me, wbanks@vivaco.in. Yeah, so that's it.
Well, it's great to see the project mature, William, and it's going to be cool to see how everything works out. I have plenty more questions that I would love to ask in another hangout, potentially, if you are interested. I know that there's a lot of other ones, but I will also say that we're going to have the after party. So after these hangouts, what we do is we open up for the after party. And with that said, I will say thank you to everybody who's joined this week. For those of you who listen, and for supporting us, we're starting to grow to be a lot larger and more listened to than ever before, really. So I really want to appreciate everybody who's open, who's supporting us, and that doesn't always mean monetarily. That means, sharing our content and letting people know about us as a community and what our goals are. And with that said, I look forward to seeing everybody next week, and reach for the stars.
you